Ilia and Islam is the biggest fight the UFC can make. That's the biggest fight in the sport to make. Not John Jones, Tom Aspinall, nothing to do with Pereira, John Jones, whatever that is. It's Ilia and Islam. You've got that White House card. Everybody's calling for it. If they want that fight, Ilia Topuria could be the first ever 3-weight world champion.
Khabib Nurmagomedov recently shook the MMA world with a bold claim. The fight that should capture everyone's attention isn't the often hyped John Jones versus Alex Pereira matchup, but rather Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria.
Topuria, вот твоя роза. Посмотри, что ислам с ним сейчас делает. Понял?
Ты на английском разговариваешь? На английском?
Не, брат, он русский, я понимаю, когда его видео смотрел. Ислам, покажи, что можно с этой розой сделать. Отпускай. Topuria, вот что от твоей розы осталось. Он его уничтожил. Ты готов на реванш?
Убил настолько.
According to Khabib, when it comes to putting together a fight with maximum impact, the clash between Makhachev and Topuria is unmatched. While Jones and Pereira certainly generate buzz due to their star power and achievements, Nurmagomedov believes the matchup between the current pound-for-pound elites is the one fans should really anticipate. Currently, Makhachev and Topuria are on separate paths. Makhachev has moved up to welterweight while Topuria holds the lightweight championship, yet the possibility of these two champions meeting remains very real. Khabib emphasizes that this fight would surpass even the proposed mega fight between John Jones, one of the sport's most celebrated athletes, and Alex Pereira, a two-division UFC champion. While Jones' record is phenomenal, boasting 28 wins in 30 fights and a legacy as one of the greatest fighters ever, Nurmagomedov believes Makhachev and Topuria represent a clash of the current elite in their prime, which could be more compelling than any marquee bout Jones is linked to.
But then there's also people that say the Ilia Topuria and the Islam fight is the biggest fight you can make.
I think right now, I think Topuria Islam can be biggest fight, not John Jones and Pereira.
Still a big fight, but not at the level.
It's still big fight, but not on that level.
No, not on that level.
I don't think it's same level.
Nurmagomedov even hinted at the special circumstances of the White House event, suggesting that it makes more sense to feature American fighters as headline, facing opponents who make sense geographically and culturally for that particular stage. He suggested that a fight between fighters from Russia and Georgia, for example, wouldn't resonate in the same way on such a symbolic platform. In his eyes, the White House card should highlight American representation in the sport, while international stars could be featured elsewhere.
Or Islam on that card.
I think if you're making in White House fight, it's have to be more American fighters. I think it's have to be more American fighters. It's very interesting. If Georgian fighter fight against Russian fighter, it's not interesting in front of White House. It's have to be something like American fighters represent their country and they fight against other guys. It seems like it's have to be like this, the way how I see him.
Meanwhile, Islam Makhachev is enjoying perhaps the peak of his career. Recently, he made his welterweight debut at UFC 322 in New York City against Jack Della Maddalena. He didn't just win the fight, he completely dominated it. Makhachev controlled all 5 rounds with ease, proving that his skills translate seamlessly to the 170-pound division. His performances left no doubt about his readiness to compete at the highest level across weight classes. Following the fight, Makhachev shared a post on Instagram highlighting his perfectionist tendencies and love for order, a small glimpse into the mindset that drives his performances. He lets his fights speak for him rather than relying on flashy celebrations or trash talk.
What drove me crazy is, of course, we knew Islam had the advantage on the ground. Jack should have had the advantage on the feet. The couple of times that Jack did finally get back up to his feet, he went for some sort of trip, whether it was an inside leg or outside leg or a hip toss. He was looking to take Islam back to the ground, and that just shows you a lower fight IQ than what we've seen out of Jack. I'm not going to say he's not a smart fighter. He's a very good fighter, but when you see a guy like that with no answers on the feet and no answers on the ground, but less answers on the ground, you have to understand, look, if you have the chance to get to your feet, you have to fight like hell to create distance. You cannot take him back down. You will wind up in a worse position if you get back up to your feet after being tired and beat up on the ground for a couple minutes by Islam, and then you try to trip him. I mean, there's footage of him. They were literally in the worst position possible up against the fence. Jack's head is on the ground, his legs are in the air, his back is up against the cage, and Islam's on top of him. Like, that's the kind of position you wind up in if you're an inferior grappler going against a guy like that, and you finally get to your feet, and then you go for that kind of thing. It was just not the approach I would would have wanted to see out of him.
With this victory, Makhachev became only the 11th fighter in UFC history to hold titles in 2 divisions. He also tied Anderson Silva's record for the longest consecutive win streak in the promotion at 16 victories. These achievements place him firmly in discussions of all-time greatness as he continues to build a legacy defined by consistency, dominance, and technical mastery. Makhachev's rise to the top of the pound-for-pound rankings immediately after UFC 322 reflects the recognition of his elite status. He reclaimed the #1 spot, with Topuria dropping to 2nd. Other top contenders in the rankings include Merab Dvalishvili at 3rd, Khamzat Chimaev 4th, and Alexandra Pantoja rounding out the top 5, with Alex Pereira following closely behind.
Ilia has not defended his title at 155 pounds. I don't think he should be granted a title shot at 170 pounds. If Arman Sarukian is able to get this finished within a couple rounds, he's next for that title shot.
Of course, Ilia's chasing Islam. Unfortunately, Islam is a welterweight now. So it's a hard case to say, hey, I want to go and be a 3-division champion without defending this belt over here and then just moving up. That's hard for the company to do because now not only do you leave a hole in 1 division, you leave a hole in 3 different divisions.
For Ilia Topuria, his journey to the top has been equally impressive, albeit in a different weight class. Topuria fought Charles Oliveira at UFC 317, knocking him out in the first round to claim the lightweight championship. The undefeated fighter now holds a 17-0 professional record, showcasing his skill and finishing ability. Like Makhachev, Topuria has positioned himself as one of the brightest talents in MMA, and a matchup between the two would pit 2 fighters with near-perfect records and elite skill sets against each other. While Makhachev moves forward with his career at welterweight, other contenders are mapping out their own paths. Arman Sarukian, the #1 ranked lightweight, has expressed his intent to remain in his current division for a few years before moving up. He aims to set new records and achieve dominance at 155 pounds before considering a shift to welterweight to chase Makhachev. Sarukian's focus on personal milestones and historical impact shows that fighters are thinking strategically about when and how to take on high-profile matchups like the one Nurmagomedov envisions.
What does it mean to you that your peers all showed you so much respect to get the fight?
I mean, people knows who is the best, who gotta fight for the title, and if they gonna make the fighter, people gonna like try to hate them, you know, because it's not fair for me, you know, and for other ones. So they know who gotta fight for the title, and people support me, and we're gonna get that title fight.
Colby Covington has weighed in on the Makhachev versus Topuria conversation as well. He believes that Topuria represents the most challenging fight for Makhachev. Covington notes that to stand a chance, an opponent would have to neutralize Makhachev's signature takedowns while engaging him in a stand-up battle, much like Alexander Volkanovski did in a previous bout. In his view, Topuria's combination of technical skill and versatility makes him an ideal adversary for Makhachev, creating the kind of high-level matchup fans crave.
Speaking of Islam, who do you think is most deserving to fight him next?
You know, either Usman or who else they got that? I mean, I want to see the Topuria fight. Everybody wants to see the Topuria fight. I think it needs to happen. You know, whether they do it at welterweight or they do it at lightweight, that fight needs to happen. We need to settle it, and I think that Ilia will be a toughest fight because he has that low center of gravity, so he's a lot shorter. So it's going to be harder to take him down and hold him down. So he's got good jiu-jitsu. I see him getting back to the feet, and obviously he's one of the biggest punchers the UFC's ever seen. So I'd like to see Ilia get his hands on him and knock him out.
Following UFC 322, Makhachev's victory has set off a flurry of calls from top contenders. Among them, Kamaru Usman has expressed interest in facing the Dagestani fighter. Makhachev has indicated that Usman could be his first target for a welterweight title defense. However, some rising stars, such as Ian Gary, believe Usman is no longer a compelling challenge. Gary points to Usman's recent form, which includes a 1-3 record in his last 4 fights, suggesting that the former champion may not offer the competitive spectacle that fans are looking for. In Gary's perspective, the most intriguing fights are those against young, hungry contenders like Carlos Prates or Shavkat Rakhmonov, rather than veterans past their prime.
Khabib and his team are very smart, and they are very intelligent at choosing fights and making interesting matchups. Kamaru Usman is fucking irrelevant in the welterweight division right now, and I excuse my language, but it's the fact. He's a has-been, and yes, at one point in time, he was arguably the greatest welterweight of all time. He's not close now. And I think Khabib and the team in Russia and that whole fight team, they know how to spin the wording to build a fight. But there's no interest. No fan wants to see that fight. They want to see him versus me. They want to see him versus Shavkat. They want to see Islam versus Practice and Morales. They want to see the new generation of this welterweight division. When you've got someone who's pushing 40 years of age and is nearly 10 in the world, he's irrelevant to me. So I think that's just Islam trying to get that 17th consecutive win against an easy opponent, someone who was at one point in time somebody, but now was just trying to maintain relevance. So I think it's I don't want to say anything disrespectful to Islam and his team, but I think it's a cop-out, if that makes sense.
The champion should face the #1 challenge.
And of which Kamaru Usman isn't close to that.
Sean O'Malley has added another perspective to the Makhachev versus Topuria debate. He believes that a fight between these two champions would showcase the highest level of mixed martial arts skill ever seen. Both fighters are considered complete, elite-level athletes capable of striking, wrestling, and submission grappling at the highest level. O'Malley points out that while size may be a factor, Topuria is significantly shorter than Makhachev. The skill levels of the two men would make for a tightly contested, highly technical fight. He stresses that this matchup could end up being closer and more captivating than Makhachev's dominant win over Della Maddalena, underscoring why fans should be eager to see it happen.
Ilia would be significantly smaller in height. No matter what they will fight at, Ilia will be 5'5". It's just, it is what it is. He's 5'5", Islam's fucking 6 foot. They're gonna look different, you know what I'm saying? But Ilia's skill set is so high. They're both 10 out of 10s in MMA. Rare, John Jones, 10 out of 10. Rare, there's a couple people in MMA that have that skill set that can do everything. Strike, wrestle, jiu-jitsu. Both those guys have it. So I don't know. I mean, in that sense, maybe size does come in. Maybe size does matter. The thing is, Ilia versus Islam, Ilia is not gonna come out there trying to grapple. Islam's gonna come out there and try to take him down. It's gonna be a striker versus grappler matchup, but they can both do well. Both very well. So say Islam stays at 170, which he's probably going to do, and he doesn't fight Ilia next, which would be fucking horrible. Shavkat, Shavkat is skill for skill, probably one of the better guys in the division. Kamaru Usman, a legend, a Hall of Famer, 170er GOAT talk. He's up there. Carlos Prata, he's asking for the belt. I just don't really see oh my God, dude, Islam, who's gonna beat Islam? I just don't know who the hell can beat Islam. I don't know if anybody can. Fucking Islam versus Hamzat? 185, fuck it. I mean, Hamzat, they got like a very similar style. Maybe Hamzat's huge. He's probably too big. But God, dude, you can't count Islam out. Imagine him going up to 185 champ. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like and subscribe. We're almost at 1 million followers. Subscribers. So just do it. It's free. And maybe we can get a cool plaque someday.
In the immediate future, Topuria is scheduled to fight contenders like Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett as he continues to defend his lightweight crown. Meanwhile, Makhachev has multiple options available, but his stated preference is a showdown with Kamaru Usman. This strategic approach illustrates the careful planning behind elite fighters' careers. They choose matchups that not only enhance their legacy, but also offer the most compelling storylines for the sport. Alexander Volkanovski, a champion in his own right, also shared his take after observing Makhachev's welterweight debut. Volkanovski identifies Usman as potentially the toughest challenge for Makhachev at 170 pounds, citing the Nigerian fighter's ability to neutralize opponents and avoid unnecessary risks. Volk said, Kamaru Usman's there, Usman could be a problem. We have seen how he did well against Khamzat Chimaev as well, and he doesn't take unnecessary risks. I think Usman will be Islam's toughest challenge. Taken together, these perspectives paint a vivid picture of where MMA stands right now. Islam Makhachev is clearly at the peak of his powers, having demonstrated dominance across 2 weight classes and cemented his status as one of the sport's premier pound-for-pound fighters. Ilia Topuria, undefeated and technically proficient, represents the perfect foil for Makhachev to test himself further. The anticipation surrounding their potential matchup is not just about records or titles, it's about the pure display of skill, athleticism, and strategy that both fighters embody.
For you, would you be happy putting a non-American main event on that
Yeah, it's
card?
not America versus the world. What's the best card we can build?
So could Islam end up on the White House?
We're talking about him possibly, GOAT talk here.
Ilia Topuria is calling him out. Is the Ilia fight, that's obviously the biggest fight, right? But is that one you would like to look at, or would you rather keep Ilia at 55 and make him defend that championship at least?
I don't know yet, depending on what he does in his next couple of fights. It's a possibility. The great thing that you just laid out is we have a lot of options. And it depends on what he wants.
When we think about the White House, it's almost like, oh, does it have to be America versus the world themed and stuff like that?
Makhachev's methodical approach to his career is evident in how he handles victories and chooses opponents. Rather than seeking fights purely for hype or financial gain, he focuses on legacy and skill-based matchups. His Instagram post after UFC 322, emphasizing order and perfection, reflects his philosophy. Every detail matters, both inside and outside the octagon. This careful attention to detail has allowed him to extend his win streak to 16, tie historical records, and establish himself as a two-division champion, all by allowing his fighting to speak louder than words. Meanwhile, Topuria is carving out his own path with similar precision. He has secured the lightweight championship and maintained his undefeated record, while showcasing a skill set that complements Makhachev's. Both fighters possess elite grappling, striking, and overall MMA intelligence, setting the stage for a potential battle that fans and analysts agree could be among the most technically impressive fights ever staged.
So how do you beat Islam?
Let's do this, and I will make it easy.
Something he knows and we all know is that the only thing I need it's one punch. We all know that at some point I will connect that punch.
Didn't you say you want to submit him?
Yeah, I can also submit him.
As the UFC continues to organize title defenses, emerging contenders, and special event fights, fans are left to speculate about when and where this dream matchup could take place. The intrigue lies not only in the fighters themselves, but also in the strategic considerations behind matchmaking, weight classes, and career trajectories. For now, Makhachev continues to cement his legacy with dominant performances, Topuria keeps climbing as an undefeated champion, and the anticipation builds for a fight that may very well be remembered as one of the greatest showcases of skill in MMA history.